Greetings fanboys and fangirls, I'm Erod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster, and welcome to my annual honest review of the DC animated movies. Now just a quick reminder, the movies that I'm about to review are relatively short, just over an hour each. So if I talk about them too much, I would spoil them for those of you who haven't seen them yet. So the following will be a series of rapid fire reviews, except for Batman: The Killing Joke. I will be talking about that movie at length, so if you haven't seen that one, you might want to skip the final review on this video. Alright, if everyone is clear on that, let's start the reviewing with
Batman: Bad Blood.
Hey guys, remember last year when I said that I hated the character of Damian Wayne and how I wish they would stop making animated features with him? Well, guess what? They made 2 more. Ugh. Let's just get this over with. Bad Blood is pretty much a metaphor for how Warner Brothers handles the DC properties, and how they are incapable of making a move unless the almighty Batman is involved, as we see an entire story centered around Batman going missing, and how all of these capable, intelligent superheroes, and Damian, run around like chickens with their heads cut off in his absence. Seriously, it takes the combined might of 4 superheroes to fill in for Batman, including the poorly introduced Batwing.
Hey Batwing, need a ride in the Batwing?
2 moments make this feature worth checking out. A pretty brutal fight scene between Nightwing and Batman, and nuns with guns. Nuns with guns. I believe that says it all. Other than Damian is still a douche, so someone please punch him in the face. I give it a 7, and I only recommend it to hardcore Batman fans.
What?
Hey guys, you remember that part of the video where I said that I hated Damian? Well, let's keep talking about him with
Justice League versus Teen Titans.
As the year progressed, I heard a lot of alleged DC fans talk like The Killing Joke was an unforgivable sin that the DC animated team needed to apologize for, as if it was the worst film they had ever produced. I disagree with this, as I believe that it is nowhere close to being the worst film they have ever produced. Hell, it's not even the worst film they've produced this year. No. That would be Justice League versus Teen Titans. How much do I hate this movie? Let me count the ways. Number 1. The title is full of shit. Never during this entire feature do we see a battle between the Teen Titans and the Justice League. There is one scene where the Titans fight a possessed Wonder Woman and Flash, but that's it. And they do fight Cyborg too, but technically he's a Titan, so that doesn't count. So yeah, never do the 2 full teams meet in combat. I guess Teen Titans vs. Wonder Woman and Flash was not a DVD title that tested well with the Warner Brothers marketing department. Number 2. In this short animated movie, they tried to adapt the famous Teen Titans storyline, The Terror of Trigon. One of the most complex and memorable storylines in the entire run of the comic. A storyline that was already adapted incredibly well throughout the 4th season of Glenn Murakami's Teen Titans animated series. FYI, most fans, including myself, consider this to be the best season of the show. So just to recap, they tried to adapt an intricate storyline which previously took up an entire season of a show into an hour-long movie. So yeah, let's just say it didn't work out. And last but not least, Number 3. The Teen Titans team in this movie is pretty lame. The characters are either dull or forgettable, they went with the one-dimensional, overly sexualized version of Starfire from the comics, and Damian, believe it or not, is not a douche in this. Nope, he is more of a dick. Point is, if you don't believe in the heroes, it's hard to get invested in the story. I give it a 4. And those points are mostly due to the fact that the animation is still amazing. Otherwise, I hope to never see this again. Also, at the end, they tease that they will be adapting the Judas Contract next, using these characters. And for the love of Christ, I hope that never happens. Ugh. Now let's move on to more pleasant films with
Batman Unlimited: Mix vs. Mutants.
Now, for those of you who don't know, the Batman Unlimited series exists for the explicit purpose of selling toys in conjunction with Target stores. For this reason, these movies shouldn't be taken too seriously, as they are nothing more than hour-long commercials for Batman toys. This one, as the title implies, features giant monsters and giant fighting mechs. The plot's ridiculous, the action is over the top, but I guarantee you that preteen boys will eat it up like kibble. Plus, the animation and voice work is excellent. I give it a 5. Watch it only if you have kids at home. Otherwise, stay away. And for those of you who thought Mechs vs. Monsters was silly,
Batman Return of the Cape Crusaders.
For those of you who don't know, January 12, 2016 was the 50th anniversary of the original Batman series featuring Adam West and Burt Ward as Batman and Robin. And to commemorate this astonishing anniversary, the DC animated team produced a movie solely based on the classic series, packed with the campy, corny humor of the original, and featuring the voices of 3 of the original cast members, Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar as Catwoman. The creators of this feature did not hold back. This is the campiest, silliest, corniest animated movie they've produced thus far. Hell, it makes the original show look tame by comparison. As far as the voice work goes, as much as I appreciate them bringing back the original actors, Adam West and Julie Newmar were really off, failing to capture the original charisma of their characters. Burt Ward, on the other hand, was still very much the boy wonder he was 50 years ago. Outside of that, this movie is a love letter to the classic series and to its fans, and worth seeing by any true Bat fan. So I give it 6 Bat points on the Bat Attitude meter. And now let's talk about the most infamous DC animated movie ever made.
Batman The Killing Joke.
Warning, I will be talking about this movie at length, so there will be spoilers ahead. This is your last warning. Also, if you haven't seen the Killing Joke movie, I highly recommend you read the comic first. So, now that all of that is out of the way, let's do this. The Killing Joke, written by Alan Moore, is considered to be a seminal comic book work, one of those comics that redefined the genre. Initially, it was supposed to be an Elseworlds tale, but it was so well received that DC Comics made it canon, meaning that the events of The Killing Joke are now considered to be part of DC continuity, in spite of the original intention behind the story, which was to simply give you a glimpse of Batman and Joker's relationship, and how they can't coexist without the other, and how they represent each other's failures. Not to mention, you get a glimpse at what many consider to be the Joker's origin, assuming he was telling the truth. Yes, The Killing Joke is a masterpiece, worthy of lengthy discussions among fanboys and fangirls. Unfortunately, when people discuss this movie, this is all they talk about. Now I get it, this moment is pretty shocking, and it is worth mentioning, but as a longtime DC fan, I will have to politely ask you to get the fuck over it! The most intriguing aspect about Batman is that he's just a normal man, vulnerable to all the flaws, desires, and poor choices that plague the rest of us. To me, this scene is just an example of that. Also, it has been hinted for years and years and years that Batman and Batgirl had a romantic relationship.
As his partner. His girlfriend? Whoa.
So why the fuck doodles were people so blindsided by this? I will never know. So, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the real issue here. The Killing Joke is actually a short story, which is nowhere close to being long enough to encompass the running time of these animated features. So in order to compensate for this, the creators tacked on this 30-minute long Batgirl prologue explaining why Barbara quit being Batgirl. And it sucks. It just sucks. While The Killing Joke is a unique and hard-hitting story, this prologue is generic, dull, and it fails to give a legitimately good explanation as to why Barbara quit being a costumed crime fighter. And while I appreciate that they expanded Batgirl's role in the story, outside of just being a motivating factor for Batman a la women in refrigerators, especially since the creators went through the trouble of getting Tara Strong to reprise her role from Batman the Animated Series, the prologue equates to nothing more than pointless padding. And on its own, I give it a 4. End of story. Let's move on and talk about what everyone should be talking about. The part of the movie which actually follows the comic. You know, The Killing Joke part of The Killing Joke. This is one of the comic books that I've been waiting the longest to see adapted into an animated feature, and I have to say that it was worth the wait. Not only is the animation up to the usual amazing quality of the DC animated team, but they got the definitive voices of Batman and the Joker to come back and reprise their roles. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. Listening to these two deliver Alan Moore's elegant dialogue was an absolute delight. Not to mention, we get to hear Kevin Conroy deliver this infamous Batman line,
I swear to God. Swear to me.
correctly.
I swear to God, man. Swear to me. I swear to you.
As I stated before, this story isn't about good triumphing over evil, or about how twisted the Joker is, as most people like to believe. It is about these characters' failings. The Joker's inability to kill Batman or prove that anyone can be driven insane, as well as Batman's inability to truly stop the Joker in an effective way, without resorting to killing him, which he refuses to do, even after he crippled one of his closest allies. The two of them are trapped in a never-ending cycle that is so ludicrous and so ridiculous, it just makes you laugh. Oh, and a lot of people seem to believe that Batman actually strangled the Joker to death at the end. I just want to say, for the record, as a fan that has been familiar with the story for most of his life, I never believed that for a second. So yeah, the Killing Joke half of the Killing Joke adaptation gets 10 points in the Badassitude meter! So just skip the Batgirl prologue and only watch the end half. Trust me, you'll thank me.
I mean, what is it with you? What made you what you are? Girlfriend killed by the mob, maybe? Brother carved up by some mugger? Something like that, I know. Because something like that happened to me.
So that concludes my DC animated reviews for 2016. A lot of people feel that this was their worst year of production, and I agree. The movies this past year were nowhere close to being as good as their past entries, and while the future seems bleak as that damn lame Titans adaptation of the Judas Contract looms on the horizon, next year we'll also see the release of Justice League Dark, and an original animated movie by Bruce Timm himself featuring Batman and Harley Quinn. So who knows, next year might just be better. Here's to hoping. Thank you for watching, I'm Erod, I'm the Blockbuster Buster, and I'll catch you next time.